This race is a beautiful, dark beast.
You're uncomfortable, and it never, ever ends.
It just doesn't stop beating you down. It's the hardest race in the world.
The story about One Water Race is that I want to find out what we humans are capable of, both from a physical but also from a mental perspective. What is the ultimate proof of human capacity?
One of the toughest races in the world.
Not all teams will cross the finish line in this race.
I could push through anything for my teammates.
It is an experiment because no one knows what's going to happen.
I have created a race with 250 k's of distance, 200 k's of running, 50 k's of swimming, navigation and orienteering as another dimension, and not at least in the darkness. It's pitch black.
The running aspect of this race is 200 kilometers, almost 5 marathons. It's brutal, the terrain that you're running through. This is not just running a marathon in New York. This is running a marathon in some of the toughest terrain in the world.
During the race, it's going to be at least 50k of swimming. That will make you cold, it's going to be a mental challenge, and it could also make you seasick.
I'm a good swimmer, but I definitely didn't understand how much of a toll it was going to take to swim, 50k on my body over the course of 2 days.
Just the human body, the non-stop, the distance, no sleep, no track, orienteering, navigation, man against nature. I think I was about 6 years old when me and my father was out here in the Stockholm Archipelago and we saw the Swedish Navy combat divers. And then I realized I want to become one. And at 19, I joined them. And that has been absolutely the most important part of my life. Not at least to realize that we are capable of so much more than we think. And that has been the very inspiration for the creation of One Water Race.
I want to compete in this race because it's one of the best challenges I've faced in my life.
To me, I think that I can reach beyond a level that I haven't been to before. To swim 50k, to run 200k, to combine that with the team and do it all together is something more extreme than I've ever even experimented with. So that's the question I'm trying to answer.
So I've done swim run more than 10 years. I've done the World Championship 6 or 7 times and finished as a World Champion 5 times. That's why I think this is, for me now, the ultimate challenge to do One Water Race.
I wanted to create the ultimate proof of human capacity and the toughest race in the world. That's one part, but I should say that I mostly wanted to make a race for the best endurance racers in the world.
We won it last year, and we feel really motivated to win it another time.
The reason why I want to do this again is simply because I can. And doing this with the same team is just a fantastic bonus.
I'm excited to see if we can improve our performance. I know there are things we can do better.
I said when we crossed the line, I'll never do it again. I said a month ago, I don't want to do it again. The only thing that's really dragging me back is my teammates and the experience we had together.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
I'm just marking what you have.
Last year we won because they're the best swim runners, in combination with a vast experience from adventure racing, and together with the navigation skills and the knowledge about the environment in the archipelago.
I think the team with the target on their back is the Swedish team who won last year.
Yeah, there's always that little bit of extra pressure, but you just got to sort of shake it off and not think about it and do the best you can out there.
Everyone want to get out with a good start and get out in front.
It's the unknown that I think will be the biggest challenge, and it's trying to foresee that and trying to make sure that we do our best to manage that.
Whether it's one bad knee, hypothermia, lack of sleep, we're going to get to the lighthouse.
The toughest competition this year, for sure, will be the Australian team with the adventure racer Rob Preston.
It'd be great to win the one water race, to prove that our team from Australia could dominate the Swedish teams.
Personally, I feel there's unfinished business from the last time we did the race.
I think we would be lying if we said we're aiming for anything else than the top step of the podium.
The distance from Arholma to Landsort, it's about 250 km, and the Stockholm Archipelago, that's about 30,000 islands. I see this as the perfect playground for a race like this.
This is really something where you're combining the absolute top end, both mental and physical, to take on a challenge that is probably one of the toughest things humanly possible.
During our first run, we could see where we were overtaking them. So we knew that we were in the lead.
That was the position we want to be in, to lead the race in the front and to dictate the race.
We knew we weren't going to be the fastest team, but we wanted to be the team that just got into a good rhythm, kept moving, and made smart decisions.
It was going to be a long race, so why rush it? And we also took it easy, and in that sense we could navigate much better. That's why we started to catch up by the other teams.
Ja, vi stiger ganska direkt efter Stenbron till vänster. We were, of course, nervous about the navigation. Some of the other navigators are the best in the world.
Snyggt, Tony. The chasing Australians seems to have a good speed on the roads. I mean, it's still early in the race, so. They were head-to-head with us last year, and we knew that they would come back this year even more eager and more prepared.
Good job. Good work, guys. They left here 7 minutes ago, so good work.
We know once it gets dark and the navigation gets difficult, then our plan is to really push hard and dominate throughout the night sections.
When creating One Water Race, I wanted to add navigation and orienteering as a dimension to it. I wanted not only for the racers to be good prepared from a physical and mental perspective, but also when it comes to the knowledge of the terrain, the forest, the nature. So that's a really, really important part, I would say, of One Water Race.
I love the navigation side of the One Water race. 250 kilometres of complex challenges on land and water, nighttime, daytime, different weather conditions, and always needing to use your brain. You're always like this close away from losing the race by making a bad mistake.
Sen härifrån sen så tar ni er över häråt, dit.
Me as a support, I will help the team with the navigation when I meet them, and that will be in the entrance in the water and the exit out of the water before they start to cross the islands. At the time when you don't know where you are and trying to find yourself on a map with loads of islands, and everything almost looks the same, it will take you a very long time to find where you are and where you're going. So it's extremely important to have a close map contact. You cannot just let the map go and keep running in the wrong direction.
To get out to here.
Okay. Okay.
So, I mean, we should be clear based on their map.
The quality of the maps really helps reduce the advantage of the local teams because we can rely on our skills and not just local knowledge. When you have really detailed maps, you've got to take the blame yourself for any mistakes. So you can't just say, oh, but the map was wrong. You have to take more ownership.
It's incredible to watch Rob navigate, and I love following him around. He's just so confident and on the maps.
The reason I keep doing adventure races like One Water Race is I love discovery. Discovery of myself and discovery of new terrain.
Rob Preston is a very strong athlete and one of the best navigators in the world.
I've been orienteering since I was 5 or 6, so that's nearly 40 years of experience now, and raced in 40 or 50 countries around the world.
He's a legend. An athlete that you know, when he puts his mind to it, he's gonna go out there, he's gonna do everything he can to be successful. He's not gonna worry about anything, and he's just gonna get the task done.
We're gonna try and maintain as much lower elevation as we can, Bubbles.
Okay.
So, kind of swing out to the coast, just hold the coastline.
I think as we got going in that first stage, I realized how relentless this was going to be. It seemed like every island we popped up on had terrain that was just as difficult as the last. There was never really much of a break in terms of finding an easy section.
Every single moment of this race was a challenge, every single step.
You just never got a break in conditions or terrain or anything like that. And if you did find a few kilometers that were easy, you had to push it and make up time that you were losing in other sections. So that was clear right away that this was just going to be relentless.
It was a challenge the entire way.
You need to pass water, and swimming is a big part of that. It's about 50 k's of swimming.
When you're out there swimming in the nature and not in a pool where it's flat and everything's controlled, there you'll just have to let nature take over. You're going to get pushed around by the waves and the wind and the currents, and you've just got to be stronger than you think you possibly can be in the water there.
In the pool, you know what you're getting. You can monitor your technique. But out in open water, you need to be able to breathe to both sides, as well as sight your landmarks. Because in a current, different conditions, you might get blown off course. You need to be able to pop your head up and make sure you're staying on your direction mark and not get moved around from that.
The most important thing about the lead swimmer in a team is that their job is to swim the shortest possible, so they have to really have a good navigation in the water, which is a very hard thing to do, but also they're breaking the water for their teammates behind them, so they're going to have it a little bit tougher, but then it makes it easier for their teammates behind them.
It's fantastic to follow Adriel in the swims. He's always swimming straight, no matter if it's daylight, night or storm. And he put up a very good pace, and we could not see any other teams around, but then we knew also that they can take different route choices.
On our route choice we're taking here, we have a quite totally remote island, like totally uncharted, which is a bit of a gamble because the team might get slow there, but we're doing good. I mean, we're in the lead.
Each way to get a checkpoint, and then come back and do the same swim.
I mean, we knew that team number 2, the Australian team, would be very good and strong. They proved that last year. But there were other teams as well that we knew, I mean, had the capacity to go very far in the race.
Går de på stigen eller gick de av stigen?
Jag tycker de går av.
Gick de av? Då tar de. We passed and got past of a lot of teams. I think we took a little different route choices and we kept overtaking each other. And that felt nice. It felt like we were in the race, we were not left behind. And then we were going pretty steady together with Team 1.
Christina, what about the water temperature this year?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
So what I have been measuring now on Christine is her core temperature. She was freezing quite a lot. Her hands were blue, lips, even the ears were quite blue, so she was shivering quite a lot. But her core temperature has actually been quite high since the start of the race. However, skin temperature, which decreased from about 36 to 30. This would indicate a high fever if you were not exercising, but now she's standing there shivering, so it's mixed worlds, so to say.
2 days to go. You little beauty.
Har ni fått i ordentligt?
When I get up from the water and if I stop at the transition, I do shiver a lot. But of course it can be a bit painful and it's not super comfy, but it's not a problem.
Ja, här är det.
It goes away just as I start running, start moving my body, and then I get warm again.
Kirsten Larson is a legend. People know her name, and you know she's tough, and she's one of the queens of swim run. And so it's really exciting just to be competing in an event with her.
I think I started adventure racing because I was curious what will happen when you just move on for days and nights. How much can you push yourself?
Christine's an amazing athlete. When I came into the sport, she'd won everything. She has won everything and she's still winning everything, so she's the queen of this sport.
Christine is very competitive and it helps the team of keeping up the focus on moving forward all the time.
I have a full-time job, 2 kids, a husband that races as well.
Now it's an honor to be racing with them both.
Get someone to get it! Ni får den sen. De har inte sagt när ni ska ha den.
Skit i dem.
Ja. Här är en ny karta. Det är härifrån nu.
Det känns dumt. Det är okej.
Här kliver vi upp. Här kliver vi upp.
Each team consists of 4 members, 3 racers and 1 support. The support crew will be taking care of the overall strategy when it comes to navigation, but not at least when it comes to food and energy. All teams are self-sufficient.
You know, I have a very good system of how I want things to go on the boat. I have everything laid out quite the way I want it. Whatever they need, I have ready.
During the swims, especially the long ones, the support person will be the one guiding us.
Follow their boat. Let's keep moving, let's keep moving.
The rougher the weather is, it's really difficult to keep a straight line in the swim, so it's important to keep your head up and take as much feedback as you can from your support boat.
The bridge with the pole.
I think at tough times, when we are on a tough run, we will look forward to meeting this energizing person, our support person, that will meet us at the end of the run and give us new energy and kind of reset us to do the next part of the race.
Captain, if you're coming samtidigt som oss.
The team is frustrated because they've been standing waiting for us.
Hillary.
There were a few moments where we'd get to our entry point for a swim. We wouldn't have a boat there, and there would be a few tense moments of waiting for our boat to arrive.
Hjälp oss nu, vad är det som händer? Tracker funkar inte, ni får en ny. Men ni måste ju veta vad det var. Alla andra båtar hinner dit. Ja, men vi fick en ny tracker nu.
They're frustrated. They're, I wouldn't say angry, but frustrated.
Quite a lot of running now. Short swim and a lot of running.
They have been waiting and they don't like it.
Jag måste ta vatten för det är jättelångt löp. Ja, jag fixar på andra. Nej, men jag måste ha nu. Fixar du där i så fall? Ja, på den sidan. Ja.
So I really think that the support also got low on energy, didn't eat food enough, didn't rest, and made some small mistakes, but for us they were big.
Jag behöver en ny flaska. Ja, liten. Ja, tack.
Now they're running down for a checkpoint, come back to the same point, so I got a little more time. A little less stressful for me right now.
Yeah, the person on the boat, they're almost as important, maybe even more important than the three people who are physically racing the entire thing.
If you can handle the cold, I think it's better for you to swim. But if you do 3.5 now, it'll be 3.5, that's an hour and 5. Then you can have a 10-minute run, 700 meters, 15-minute run, and then another 3.5. Ooh. Right. And then you've got short run 500, and then a medium run 4K 1.5. Right, see the mast there? Yeah. That's what you're aiming for. Okay.
At one water race, we are passing more than 100 islands. And when you're swimming, you get rather cold, and when you're on land, the body temperature is very warm. And shifting between cold and warm in the body is very tough for the body. And I think that is one of the things that is very challenging with one water race.
During the race, if the conditions are really cold, which they can be in August in the Stockholm Archipelago, then hypothermia is a clear risk.
Being cold just absolutely saps the energy out of the body.
So the temperature in your body is normally about 37 degrees Celsius. And when that drops below 35 degrees Celsius, you're classified as hypothermic. And what happens is that you start to shiver, you become very cold, your muscles function worse, so it hampers your performance and your drive to continue.
The second you get up and you're standing still, it's cold.
If the body temperature drops even further, maybe down to 30 degrees Celsius, that could be quite dangerous.
Should I put that suit on?
We got one.
If you're too cold, and if you stop exercising, then you will stop to produce your own heat. That will further worsen the hypothermia. So being active, getting heated food, staying awake, that's a key.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to see that if the weather gets bad and the water is cold, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to struggle to finish this race.
As long as you're going left of that, yes, that's a good bearing.
Well, it's good, but we do struggle a bit with the cold and long swims.
Coming out of every swim, the muscles would be quite tight and locked up, and it would take a good kilometre to warm up again and be able to get a pace happening. So that was a challenge I wasn't expecting. So all that blood goes to your shoulders while you're swimming, and then when you jump out to run, you've got to push it all back to your legs, so it just takes time.
I'm cooking them warm water and get the body temperature up while they're walking and running. So that's the plan. And this coming section, I do believe, will be more running and less swimming, which will be nice through the night.
I think the challenges in this part of the race coming up is the navigation. That'll be a big challenge at night. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be dark in the forest.
On this island on the other side, we call it Hell Island because the terrain is incredible. They will be there for hours, for sure.
The dark is where nightmares are.
Navigating during the daytime can be quite easy, but the race really starts when the sun goes down and it gets dark. You can only see as far as your headlight throws a beam, and that really cuts down your ability to visualize the terrain. And ultimately, the race will be won and lost during the nighttime legs.
I was breathing like I did max intervals, but I was walking.
Här går det bra.
Min kropp är helt...
Andas bara.
Har du en lina, andas. Tänker du på något helt annat?
Body was acting strange.
Jag behöver bara vatten. Bara vatten? Ja.
That's fantastic swimming. Now we've got some running. All right, keep your nav, focus on the nav. Take your time, okay?
Shot under his belt.
Yeah, exactly. All right, awesome, guys. Keep it up. You're doing well.
We've got Freddie,
so well. Keep it up.
Smashing it. Lucky charm.
Yep.
I was super stiff in my legs. I had problems to bend my knees while running.
Vad sa du?
Jag var så ont i nacken. I got a bit scared because it was so many things that wasn't working, and when I also got pain in my neck, it was like, what is going on? I don't recognize myself.
Hur kall är du?
Jag är kall, fast jag tror inte det är kyla. We all realized pretty quick that it was something wrong. It wasn't any typical symptoms.
Bara upp. Tog resten nu i en svepp.
I ate a lot. I did what I could to recover. I think we all believe that it will get better.
Good job, guys. Leading team just left 4 minutes ago. All right, the supplies are here. Have a look. Blueberry, Sopper in the blue thing. Tailwind. Huh? Great job. All right, keep it up.
Yeah, I think they made some navigation orienteering mistakes on the way here. So team number 2 passed us. Måste checka.
Jo, lyssna då.
Ja.
Alltså, vi typ går.
Ja.
Och vilket gör att vi alla höll på att bara gå ner sig nu.
Ja. Det där. Så vi käkar ordentligt.
Ja. Men det löser inte. Att vi käkar ordentligt, det är säkert... Kristins kropp håller på att stänga ner.
Ja, okej.
Det tog ju, alltså det var ju samma på yxlan där. Sen tog jag ju 2 Alvedon och då funkade den ju ett tag.
Ja. Vad är förslaget då?
Ja, vi vet inte.
Alltså... Vi skulle stanna och ta tältet och se om det hjälper. We could not see any improvement, so we decided together in the team that we need to do one last attempt to recover, and that was to stop, put up the tent and try to get some sleep.
Doing the best thing for our team, having a break now.
I mean, there wasn't much of racing, so a bit of recovery and then go for it again. When we did this, my problems got worse. Lying on my back made it more difficult to breathe, and yeah, that's when we realized that we could not race and we need to call the medics.
Nu känner jag så. Går det bra? Det här, då var jag bra.
I was very sad and disappointed, of course. I felt that I let my teammates down. It's a lot of feelings going on.
Most normal people would have been dead long time before Christine takes the decision to pull out of the race. So, I mean, she gave it all.
I think all the adventure racers that are flying in here to do one water race, the common thread is that people want to push their bodies to the absolute limit and see what is possible.
I think as human beings, we are all searching for thrills, confirmation, challenges, rewards. I would say most people get rewards from food, love, drugs maybe, but this challenge has turned into drugs for the athletes, I believe.
When I push my body to the limits and I find myself somehow digging deeper than I've ever dug before, I get this rush, I guess, and it's addictive.
The most I would want out of this is to push myself to a limit that I didn't even know existed. And I think through that, I'll find new things, new levels about myself that I didn't even know exist.
Although it might be, for most of us, kind of hard to understand, why would I choose the pain, the cold, the suffering, instead of sitting home drinking a glass of wine as a reward? It's hard to understand for most of us, but I think for these athletes, it makes total sense.
It definitely releases a lot of dopamine, a lot of positive energy, but it also puts you in a situation where you have to overcome. And when you show up on the other side of that, you can always take something away from that. Whether you do it perfect or not, when you get to the other side, you can live with that for the rest of your life.
So many people tell me I'm crazy for pushing myself like that, but it's what I'm good at. And I can't think of doing anything else with my life.
So we were close to 2 other teams, number 1 and number 4. We swam past them a couple of times and ran past them, and then we switched.
Sometimes we navigated better than them and could pass them, but on the other hand, they navigated better than us in some parts, and we were behind them.
We really improved our position during the night.
Yeah, and it worked really well. So took a couple of nice bearings, picked up a couple of features on the way, and then we saw Team 7 set up in the tent. So we were a bit excited there. We realised we were in second place, and that was a really good win coming in, sort of early hours of the morning.
If daytime navigation is difficult, that means nighttime is going to be supremely difficult.
And then this one. Yeah. So back to the power lines?
Yeah.
Or just take this?
Yeah, just see it.
And then finally it was, this is not right.
Where are we going?
And luckily, Kristen had been able to track us, and they knew we were going in the wrong direction.
You see where the sailboat is?
Yeah.
You can swim across there. I need the other map.
Whoa.
It was frustrating when we figured it out. We actually ended up off the map that we had. We almost made it down to checkpoint 4 before going to checkpoint 3.
And we had a long backtrack at that point.
Follow the coastline.
This coastline.
We lost probably an hour and a half, 2 hours there, and you know, it happens though.
Physically, I do think it took a little bit of a toll. And I think that did matter in the end.
So what's new for this year is that we have the 8-hour rule. That means that you cannot be more than 8 hours behind the leading team.
When we arrived here, CP4, we had bad news, but we expected that because we knew before that we were behind several hours behind the team leader, and it's just impossible to follow the race if you are so behind. I agree this rule of 8 hours behind the leader. So if you are not capable to do it, go home. It's simply.
Ja, lyssna mellan passagerare.
I would say that this race starts the second night, and if the race is longer than that, that's really when the good teams separates from the not so good teams.
Yeah, no, I'd say I'm done.
Oh, you're done?
I'd say, yeah. I'd just say I'd rather just...
Okay. I'm not the one swimming and running, so... Steve, where are you at?
Yeah,
What did he say?
He's
in a pretty bad state, Kristen.
Yeah. He's in the hurt box.
Yeah.
He's been in the hurt box for the last hour.
We're only going to continue to get slower, and the conditions were only going to continue to get harder, so we knew at that point that it just wasn't going to be physically possible to make the 8-hour cutoff.
We went hard till basically we had to stop.
Yeah.
And we knew that getting to the end was going to be unlikely very early on in the day. And nobody even brought it up.
Yeah.
I know we all knew.
So it's the second night, the differences in speeds, navigation mistakes are being made, run low on energy, and also the sleep catches you up. And where people or teams mentally stops racing. They're just trying to survive.
We were supposed to do a 2K swim. It turned out to be a 4K swim because we missed an island we were supposed to go up on to take a rest. So we got cold again. We lost energy and we needed to heat up again. So this sort of made us lose time more than we wanted. All these small errors that we made the time tick faster than we wanted. That made us too late to checkpoint 8, and we were more than 8 hours behind the leading team. So we were pulled out.
Yeah, running on about half hour's sleep after 2 nights was just not quite sustainable. In hindsight, that was, for me as the navigator, the biggest mistake and the lesson to take forward for next time.
We did not. This is that water I was.
Yeah, okay.
Because here, we came down here. Yeah, it's not that.
There are a lot of things that happen during sleep deprivations with your brain or your cognitive function. First of all, you get sleep, and then tells you, all right, I want to stop. I just want to lay down and have a nice warm sleep. Also, your ability to move becomes hampered, so you're not as agile. You don't move your muscles that fast.
When you're really tired, you can start getting sleep monsters, which is where you're actually seeing things in the terrain that don't really exist.
For me, I start seeing bridges, I start hearing things, and you start seeing things in your mind that aren't there.
So I really noticed that Mitch and Hillary, on the third day, even on the day, they were really tired. Just remember it's shorter.
Yeah, a lot of things can happen actually with your minds, that you start hallucinating. And that has a major negative outcome on your performance, of course.
So during a race like this, the body gets upset. Both my teammates, they were puking their lungs out. It sounded like that.
You good, Mitchie?
Get a wriggle on.
When you're in a race and you get seasick, I've had to throw up before because I get quite nauseous when I get seasick, and then you just got to keep going.
I have more for you there.
And that does not stop once you get on the ground. It takes quite a while to become adapted. It can persist for quite a long time.
You're okay. You're okay.
I was really afraid every time that they're gonna be like, I'm done, I can't go on, but you know, they said that stuff like that happens.
Usually you do feel a bit of relief when that happens, but you can't stop, you have to just press on.
I really don't fancy being too close to other teams. I want to do my own race. I want to trust Mitch's navigation. But yeah, of course we saw them.
We knew that we were alongside with Team 5 and we were moving back and forth quite the same speed. That fighting spirit really lifted us from there, and we really raised the pace.
The biggest challenge will definitely be Danziget. It's 6.5 k's of swimming in open water.
I was thinking about Danziget for the whole race. It was always something that we were a bit scared about.
Really tough course, and I think that's just hitting home with them a little bit now.
The water temperature's a little bit colder, so I'm going to just try and get as many layers on as possible.
There might be 3 corpses that rock up, but we'll get there.
We're going to fuel up. I think then they're going to get that sniff. They're almost home. They're almost there in Lanzarote. So it's coming good.
Haven't quit a race yet. I'm not going to start now.
So trying to prepare energy for Danziget, it's not just about what you eat just before it. You have to make sure that you've looked after yourself up to that point in the race, because it is, a long time out in the water. It's going to be hard to get good nutrition in when you're out there.
Here we are, about to take it on.
Under there. So good. All right, shoes, pool boy, paddles. Get it all sorted now before you run off, so you're not carrying it. You can do it. All right, you're almost there, guys.
It just looks like a straight swim. There's a headland in the distance and it looks so close, and you get in the water and you swim for an hour and it looks the same as when you started an hour ago. And we swim for another half an hour and it looks the same.
So it does start to draw on your mental strength, and I was just wondering how much longer we can keep this up, or praying that the race would get called off because the conditions were too difficult.
We were punching our way, grinding, and then this ferry charges across in front of us and creates some decent swell. Thought, oh, yeah, all right. What else are you going to throw at us, Thomas? And that brought up a lot of cold water from the bottom.
All right, there's Blueberry.
In the water, where Julian put some hot fluids into a flotation device so that we could feed while we're in the water.
You're doing well. You're almost halfway, 2.9 kilometres. Yeah, cool. Good job.
But it was very choppy and it was hard to get across to the boat, and the wake was there, so it really wasn't the most effective feed.
Eventually, you get a little bit closer, and then towards the end, you really come and you realise that you are going to make it, but there's big periods out there where you're just swimming.
Woo! You did it! Yes!
So when I hit the rocks after that swim, for me, that would have been physically the point where I was, just ready to have 5 minutes just to get a bit of food back into me, a bit of warmer fluid, and reset for the next run leg.
Yep. Almost got cleaned up by the ferry, huh?
The moment that we had finished the Danziger Gut was the first moment that we started to think finishing this race was going to be a real possibility.
Doing well, man. Okay, hang in there. All right, you're almost there. You're almost there, guys. Come on. We're only a few hours away. Okay? All right, so fuel up a bit, put your shoes on and start walking up the hill, get warm. Let you swim.
All right, let's go.
There. Awesome work. Okay, almost there. Almost there. Doing so well. Get moving now. All right, good job, guys.
I knew we weren't going to make it when we were on the last island because we were on not the island we were planning on being on.
But I don't know, I just felt, I was so tired, I was in that dream state. I wasn't disappointed that, I was not at all disappointed on Mitch or on Michael, but it was just like, okay, we did all we had.
Regardless of that situation, we were all still very impressed with each other and satisfied with the experience we'd had. And we could, sit down and enjoy each other's company on that very remote area.
Yes. Yeah.
How does it feel? Oh, have we agreed to stop racing?
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're stopped racing. Well,
I am keen.
glad you didn't go for it.
I am really proud of the team. I'm proud how far we got. We were so close to the finish line.
Danziger Gut was part of the course that everyone, us included, had talked the most about. I remember Alex saying early on that this is gonna take some longer time than we thought. During the long swim of Danziger Gut, and with the wind pushing us so hard from the front, we kind of knew that time was running out. When we got up to checkpoint 12, we got the information that the race was over now. The reason was the 12 o'clock closing time of the course. At that moment, after 63 hours of racing, it felt very empty. Very empty to be so happy about the race, but still not at the finish line.
The Australian team is so inspirational, I think, as an endurance athlete, to look at that team and how they operated and how strong they were from start to finish.
We all had a hit of adrenaline to run up the stairs, and there it was, this lighthouse, this mystical lighthouse that we'd been thinking about hitting the door.
Great work, Kevin. Well done.
To achieve something like this, it's a big sense of satisfaction and pride. I'm very proud of what we managed to achieve and how we worked to get to this point.
And to put our hands on the door there together was just an incredible feeling.
I'm sure we'd love to come back and defend our title next year.